Nicole from Professor Purl, a YouTube channel about knitting and other crafts, and I'm with Jeffrey at Wall of Yarn in Freeport, Illinois.
Yes, welcome.
So when I came in, I said I liked your sweater, and you said it's your, or Dennis said it was your colors. But...
Yes. So it's a Rama pattern called Varda, and I of course did change the colors. Not many people would probably publish a pattern in a bright orange, but it worked for me. It's out of the Rama garn, great Scandinavian yarn.
So that's a fingering weight?
Fingering weight, yes. So it was knit on a 2.5.
Okay. That's amazing that you did a fingering. Actually, that's what I have. I think I purchased, like last Christmas, I visited the store and I got some fennel, how do you say it, fennel garn?
Fennel garn, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I didn't realize it was a fingering weight sweater that I'm going to be tapping. All right, so I'm falling down a rabbit hole of unplanned questions. So, Jeffrey, can you tell me how you learned to knit?
So, I learned how to knit when I was like 9. My parents were very particular about during the summer you still had to do stuff and learn stuff. So one summer when I was 9, my mom taught me and my 2 brothers how to knit, and I kept up with it for a little bit, and I stopped when it wasn't cool when I was in high school, and then when I graduated from college I picked it back up, and I've been knitting pretty consistently since then, and I've been out of college for over 20 years, so
we can do the math on that. That's so fun.
Yes.
And so, can you tell me about how, like, when I came in, you said that you've been open for 10 years, and I didn't realize that because I'm not from this area. So, can you tell me, if you can remember, how Wall of Yarn became Wall of Yarn?
We opened April 18th was our soft opening in 2011, with a grand opening of May 2nd. And me and my husband Dennis, we lived in Chicago, and we were kind of tired of the rat race and ready for some change, and my grandfather had passed away and my parents were getting ready to sell his house. So we bought his house and moved to Freeport and opened the shop here. So it's been a wild 10 years, but we've come a long ways.
That's an awesome story. I always look forward to visiting because I have family that's out here too. So how was the transition from Chicago to Freeport? Because it's a smaller city.
Yeah. I mean, we're only like 25,000 people here. So coming from Chicago, it's a bit of a shock. Things close really early here most of the time. And Sundays and Mondays, you're lucky to find anything open. So we're actually open every day of the week except for Wednesday. And we do that so that people that have normal weekday jobs have time to come in and shop, and it's a great time for people that live out of town to come, and we try to carry things that you just can't find everywhere else, which helps draw people from quite a ways away.
Actually, I have a funny story about that. So I was so excited last year that you had the Koftaboken. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, Koftaboken
books here. And so my mother-in-law got me a gift certificate here for Christmas. So it was like the first thing I was coming here to buy.
Yeah.
And on my very first episode of my podcast that I started this summer on YouTube, I just showed like the book and said it was like my dream knitting. And I actually had somebody like randomly like reach out to me saying that they always wanted this book and they're having like a hard time getting it. and so, yeah, I think that there is a lot of things that are really hard to get here in the U.S. that like you have here.
Definitely. And that one is
randomly in Freeport, Illinois.
We actually, Dennis and I were in Norway visiting the Rama factory in 2017, and we came across Koftaboken 1 in a bookshop there, and we purchased one for ourselves. And every once in a while we would get an inquiry because people know we specialize in Norwegian yarn. And I was like, well, I'll contact the author and see what they say, because it was a self-published book in Norway, so chances of it being picked up by a translator here are 0. And it's been a really, really popular book. But outside of Norway, we are literally the only place you can buy it.
Yeah.
There's one shop in Canada that just started carrying it, but literally they just got their first copies last month.
I thought it was hilarious because people were like, "Where did you find this?" I was like, "You messages." And I was like, suddenly I had friends that I never knew. It was so funny. And that's actually going to be my first cast on in 2022 is a sweater from that book. Yeah. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's great. They've got some great patterns, and they're a lot of fun to knit.
So my next question for you is going to be what's unique about your store, but you've kind of hinted at some of that. But yeah.
Yeah, so we do carry a lot of things that you just can't find everywhere else. When we first opened, there were quite a few shops in the area. Rockford had a couple, Galena had one, and there's one up in Monroe, and there were a couple towns south of here. But they've all gone out of business now. We're basically all that's left. And when we first opened, since there were that large range and there's so much yarn out there, we tried to carry things that you couldn't find at the other shops nearby to give people a reason to shop here. And we've grown into some things that we hadn't anticipated. We've done a lot of the big retail shows like Stitches and Vogue. And that's helped a lot get our name out there. But we stock wide range of things. I mean, everything from stuff that's like $3.50 a ball all the way up to $68 a skein, depending on what you get. From small local places and a lot of European country yarn.
I'll make sure that I take some video footage of the fennel garn, or is that how I say it?
Yeah, fennel garn.
Yeah.
It's 135 colors.
Yeah, I'll try to take a nice video of it because I that's something I was really excited about last Christmas when I got the gift card. It was to come here and actually see the colors in person and put them together.
So the way we kind of have the shop set up now, because we always changed around, but right now everything on this wall is machine washable.
Oh, okay.
Everything on the other wall is stuff that we import from the Rauma factory in Norway.
I
so
love
that
vest.
whole wall
That's beautiful.
is Rauma stuff. But of course, their most well known is the fennel.
Yeah,
it's a great yarn.
Yeah, I'm excited to take some video footage. So that's awesome. And what's your favorite part about leading a yarn store?
I had never really even thought about running a business before we opened. And so it was definitely a learning experience. But I think it's just like our regular customers. It's just a neat community that we've kind of built here. And it's nice to see them, how they've progressed in the 10 years since we've been here.
Because they're probably learning a lot from you and each other.
They are, and it's nice. We have group times 3 times a week, Tuesday nights 7 to 9 p.m., Friday afternoons and Sunday afternoons from 1 to 3. And people just come and knit and crochet and weave on whatever they're working on, and if they get stuck or have questions, we're here to help. But
I should come to one of those while I'm here.
Yeah, I find it's really helpful for the customers, not only to see what other people are working on, but with them knowing that we're available and can help, they're willing to tackle things that they might not otherwise tackle because they know they've got the support. So it's been, I think that's been fun.
Yeah, so this could maybe a strange question, but I was thinking about how, if it wasn't for my in-laws living here, I probably wouldn't think oh, I should come to Freeport. But I was thinking that this would be a really fun day trip if you're a knitter, especially if you're into Scandinavian stuff. So I was wondering,
Definitely.
I was wondering if you could suggest something if somebody was interested in a day trip here.
So day tripping, we're right off of US 20, which is nice, but we're far enough away from the interstates that we don't have a lot of things that cities comparable size would potentially have. We've got some great local coffee shops and restaurants, all of which are worth hitting up if you make the trip out. If you're a history buff, one of the Lincoln Douglas debates was here. That's one of the things we're well known for.
There was 8 spots, wasn't there, or something like that?
Yeah, in Illinois. And so we were one of those, and so pretty historic there. But we've got some great parks for a city our size. Crape Park is definitely worth a visit, especially in the summertime. They've got a little carousel that goes around, and
I didn't even know that.
there's summer band shell concerts at the park every Sunday during the summer, and there's a lot of art stuff, artsy musical things happening. So check out the Masonic Temple schedule, and there's a Freeport Art Museum that has a really great collection of stuff, and they are constantly rotating. Like every month there's a new exhibit that's opening, and there's a lot of great things to see.
Oh, that's fun. This is always like a highlight of my Christmas visit with my family, besides family. Anyway, well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
I'm so glad you stopped.
Yeah. Bye. Hey there, I'm back from Illinois and I'm in Oregon, so I'm at home in Oregon, and I'm getting ready to edit the video on my visit to Wall of Yarn in Freeport, Illinois, and I thought I would show you some of the things I have purchased from Wall of Yarn. And some of the things I purchased this current trip that I took to Wall of Yarn, but some of the things I'll show you I've purchased on previous trips. So, okay. The first thing I'll show is a sock yarn that I've used from their store. And it's self-striping. This colorway is called Splash, and they have a big wall of sock yarn, and they have a lot of different colors of this brand. I one year purchased like a Harry Potter colorway, and I'd show you those socks because I've knit them up, but they are in the dirty laundry. My mother-in-law got this for me for Christmas last year. Not, I guess 2021 was last year. She got me it on Christmas 2020, and I still haven't knit it, but I really like it. The colorway Splash makes me think of my 4-year-old Matilda. She really likes to swim. So I know that I will make it someday. Okay, this trip I'm really excited. I bought 2 books. One of the books I bought is called Selbu Mittens, and you've probably seen this book. Maybe not in person, maybe you've seen it, on podcasts and things, but it seems like a really good informational book. Like, it has pictures of all kinds of mittens and even kind of older mittens. And then tons and tons and tons of charts. And it just seems like a really good informational book. I would say I don't really knit mittens. I've knit a few mittens in my life. actually the very first pair of mittens I made when I was 10 years old, and I have made mittens, but I wouldn't say like I'm an avid colorwork mitten maker by any kind of capacity. But I really like the historical aspect of this, really spoke to me. And I also purchased these yarns to make mittens. This is the Rama yarn. I don't know if it's the fiddle yarn or not, but wall of yarn has so much Rama, and yeah, so I think I could easily say that they have the most Rama yarn in the US. Like, I think that would probably be a fair statement to say. Okay. So that would be something I would like to do in 2022. I haven't made a Make 9 board. I haven't written down any plans, but I think like reading this book cover to cover and picking out a pair of mittens from there is definitely something I want to do. Okay. The other book I bought this trip is Koftaboken 2. And that's because I think last year or the year before it was last year, I bought Koftaboken 3. So I have 2 out of the 3 books. My goal is eventually to purchase all of them. I'll start with the 3 because what got me into the Koftaboken series is this sweater on the cover here. It is so beautiful. And I think I have a bookmark here. And initially I had purchased this book because I was thinking when I started my sabbatical in August, I'm a professor and I'm on sabbatical, I thought that this would be the project I would start off my sabbatical with. And so while I was there, purchased the yarn for all of this, for the sweater. I'll pick out 2 of them. These are actually the exact colors in the pattern. I thought I would pick something new and novel. Like I was playing with the idea of like a navy and a pink or a black and a pink, and that did look really good and is definitely my palette. But well, actually I tend to like golds too. So I'm really excited about this, but I didn't cast it on at the beginning of my sabbatical. And I'm at the halfway point of my sabbatical. I have 1 more semester left. So I sort of feel like it's now or never. I would say the main holdup for knitting this pattern has been that I have to put in effort because the pattern is written in Norwegian. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just do this. And I do feel motivation to do it now because I'm at the halfway point of my sabbatical and I definitely do want to do this. And even though it's in Norwegian, like I totally have the skill set to do this. I've steeked a sweater, I've made lots of sweaters, so and I know how to do color work. So I just need to take the time to do it, and I will. And because I know that I will do that, and I really like the sweaters in the Koftaboken, I ended up purchasing this trip the Koftaboken 2 book. And they have at Wall of Yarn the entire series, so I could have purchased the first one. And I just feel like I had a hard time choosing between 1 and 2 because they're both great. But since I was there, I had the opportunity, I could just flip through the books, and I just feel like there were just a ton of sweaters in here that I knew that I would like to make. And I feel like there was a children's sweater in here that just like kind of put me over the edge where I was like, okay, I have to get this. I'm gonna find it. I think it was a children's sweater that had reindeer. Oh yes, this is the sweater that I was like, sold. How adorable is that? It's just the sweetest. And so I would love to make that for Matilda. So those are my purchases. And I've never seen the Cloth de Boken books at any stores here in the US. I mean, I obviously have not been to every single store in the United States, but I do think this is quite the find, and they have all three there, and they have an amazing book selection, obviously, because I bought the Selbu Mittens book as well. And what's really awesome about the Selbu Mittens book and these books is that, of course, you can do it out of any kind of fingering yarn you want, but the like steeking and mitten making, they just turn out better with like a good rustic wool. And like, this is good rustic wool. Like, it's, if you've never touched it, I'll say this, it is next to skin. It's not itchy. Like, so if you've never touched Rama Fiddlegarm in person, I will describe it to you. It is bouncy. It is squishy. It's not cashmere. I'm knitting cashmere right now. It's not soft like cashmere. It's not as soft as like your sock yarn that has nylon in it, but it is soft in my opinion. And I would say this is next to skin for me. Like, I wouldn't find this scratchy. And I would actually make Matilda a garment out of this, and I don't think it's scratchy. And so I think if you're curious about a non-superwash wool or a more rustic wool, I do think that this would be a really good entryway for you, because it is soft. So again, it's not cashmere, it's not a sock yarn, it's a little rougher than that, but it is next to skin in my opinion. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed the interview and some of the video footage of Ball of Yarn, and thanks for watching.